Learning more and all right, we're learning more and more. All right, we're learning more and more about this implosion of Titan, the submersible that was traveling to visit the wreck of the Titanic. I've got some interesting stuff. We have the CEO who died on Titan, Stockton Rush. This was before the incident. I have broken some rules to make this the carbon fiber and titanium. There is a rule that you don't do that. Well, I did. So this does seem like a situation where it's extremely hard to get a submersible that can go as deep as the Titanic wreck. So in order to do it, OceanGate, which is totally privately funded, cut a few corners because they said, nothing bad's gonna happen, whatever. Well, it turns out the science behind the implosion came from the fact that it was carbon fiber, and people are wondering what happened during the implosion. There's been a lot of different videos surfacing on social media talking about what the passengers felt during the implosion. From my research, they didn't feel anything. There's the hypothetical of did they hear something like a cracking or, something that would warn them to where they were like, oh no, and then it happened. Apparently, it just happened right out of the blue, and about 30 milliseconds is all it took for it officially to implode, and they died I can't even snap, but they died before they could even process what was going on, right? That's how quickly it happened. Their brain could not process it, which in a morbid way is probably the best case scenario based on their oxygen running out. And the other thing would have been them just kind of being stuck within the Titanic wreck, maybe stuck in some type of debris or taken by a current and somewhere just floating in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, somewhere between the bottom and the surface where their oxygen is running out. It's just, you can only imagine what people would feel like as they're slowly suffocating to death. The instant collapse of the pressure, the hull would immediately heat the air in the sub to around the surface of the sun's temperature as a wall of metal and seawater smashed one end of the boat to the other. All of that happening in 30 milliseconds. So that's how quickly that it happens. There was no pain, but the carbon fiber was the big issue that doomed the Titan submersible, unfortunately for them. When it comes to the debris, everyone is speculating when are the images of potential debris going to come out, because there's been reports that there are some bigger pieces of debris. Even though it was an implosion and virtually everything was destroyed, you're not going to find like half of the submersible at the bottom of the ocean because it's just been blown into so many different pieces. But they found some debris. Are there pictures circulating? Apparently, at least right now on Friday, all of the photos that are circulating have been AI generated. These are 2023 problems. You can have text to image with the AI prompts and things like that, and that's what all of those are. I'm sure the debris photos will be released relatively soon. This is also something big that came out yesterday. The U.S. Navy heard what it believed was Titan implosion days ago. Underwater microphones designed to detect enemy submarines first detected the Titan tragedy, and that opens up about 300 more questions to people. With the current situation, American politics, there's some things going on. This is not a political video. A lot of people wondering, was this a distraction? It did get a ton of news coverage. I mean, I don't want to throw stones from glass houses here because my videos, they've gotten good views for sure. But it is kind of weird that this was like the story for 4 straight days. I mean, I can kind of understand it because it involves the Titanic, and there are so many of us that are big fans of the Titanic, but it's just very hard to relate to a disaster story like this because, let's be honest, none of us are shilling out $250,000 to go on a day trip to see the Titanic wreck. So it's just hard to relate to it, I would say. It is surprising, at least it surprised me a little bit that it's gotten this much coverage to where people have been obsessed with it the entire week. I guess disaster stories do sell. I mean, just look at the Titanic, but that seems like it's a more wide-scale thing. This was just, a one-off thing. And listen, the U.S. Navy, there's people saying they have protocols, they have, they don't want to share their technology that they have about detecting other enemy submarines, so that's why they didn't share it on Sunday. But you would figure if you have like not even a 95% chance, if you are pretty sure that this thing imploded, you would release that information. They let it go. They let all of the rescue teams go out there. There's a lot of money spent on the rescue in the Atlantic Ocean. It's like a needle in the haystack, and just kind of a strained situation when it comes to that. OceanGate, the operator behind the doomed Titan sub, has closed down its headquarters indefinitely in a likely attempt to try and avoid numerous looming lawsuits over the deaths of 5 people. Now, there were people saying, well, they can't sue OceanGate because they signed a waiver, but there are going to be loopholes to sue OceanGate by the families. Some of these people very powerful. They've got families that have billions and billions of dollars. This is going to be a huge issue for OceanGate because it has been reported. We've seen the videos. OceanGate has cut corners when it comes to this submersible because it is so hard to build a 1000% perfectly safe submersible that can go to those depths. Very, very few can do it. The Titanic is very deep in the Atlantic Ocean. So, it's been admitted by their CEO that they do certain things that are kind of cutting corners. And it's one of those things, well, this won't happen. Even if there's a 1% chance it's not going to happen, well, it happened. And now they're in deep crap right now. That's what I'll say about OceanGate. So this just gets more and more ridiculous by the article. The former director of operations at OceanGate was terminated in January of 2018 after presenting a scathing quality control report on the vessel. Numerous issues that pose serious safety concerns. He noted that a previously tested scale model of the hull had preventable flaws, this coming back in 2018. The recommendation was that non-destructive testing on Titan's hull was necessary to ensure a solid and safe product. The person who gave it was given approximately 10 minutes to immediately clear his desk and exit the premises. Wow. So it just keeps getting worse and worse for this company. This is possibly the last image. This was a screenshot I got from a TikTok video of a woman on the mother boat above the Titan sub. This coming on Sunday morning. For many of us, if you're in America, this would be like at 3 or 4 a.m. Because they went down Sunday morning. They lost communication about an hour 45. The story really, I would guess, is not... There's not a lot of, craziness about it. Right when they lost communication is when the implosion happened. So they were going down, a leak happened, the hull, and they completely implode, and that's the end of it. The hull being made of carbon fiber, the biggest issue. That's a material that's normally used with planes and yachts, but not submersibles, especially submersibles that go that deep into the ocean. The material weakens under extreme pressures, including extreme water pressure, and the submarine shape was a tube shaped, if you look at Titan, not spherical, as is standard with subs to ensure an even distribution of pressure. So there were clear and evident major problems with the Titan sub. I'm not going to say it was inevitable, but this seems like they were using it, air pressure, over and over and over again. It weakens the hull, and then this was just the fatal time, unfortunately, for the people traveling in it, where it did give way and the implosion took place and they all died within 30 milliseconds. So that is the update on Titan. I will say it did seem kind of ridiculous when they were like, oh, there's a banging. When in reality, when you actually look into it, and this is what I said back when it was reported, I think like on Wednesday or Tuesday, I said, 99% of the time, that banging is heard in the ocean. It's not what you think it is, according to the experts, and that's exactly what it was. They hear random noises all the time in the ocean. and it doesn't end up being what they think it is. People heard like the knocking of, oh, maybe they're at the bottom of the ocean trying to knock to alert people. But if you actually look into it, there's a 99% chance that was not the case. And of course, it was not the case. We got confirmation within an hour that there had been a loud bang at the same time that the sub communications were lost. Loss of transponder, loss of comms. I knew what had happened. The sub had imploded. So, it seems like a lot of the big time experts knew pretty much right away that the timeline was correct, to where right when it lost communication on its descent to the Titanic, over halfway to the Titanic, the implosion happens, the debris gets scattered, and the debris that they found was not located on the Titanic wreck site. It was about 1/3 mile away, the big debris. I'm sure there's a lot of smaller pieces that we're not going to be able to see because it's the ocean. They probably drifted, but I'm sure they'll take photos and show the debris that is on the ocean floor from Titan if it is of substance, which I'm guessing it is, especially if they're reporting it. So guys, that is the update on the doomed Titan submersible, which unfortunately imploded instantly at about an hour 45 into its descent to see Titanic. Guys, make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.